Before you even get halfway through this video, you're going to want to start that business, launch that podcast, and go after that degree, pick up that mic. Whatever it is that God is calling you to do, you're going to want to do it. This isn't just a motivational video. This is your confirmation. And if you're not one of the 10 people that already knows who I am, hi, I'm Isa Rose. I'm a wife, mom of 2, digital connoisseur. I mean, I've been on social media for a minute now, and I've made tons of mistakes. I actually started on YouTube years ago, and I'm kind of having this full circle moment coming back, because if I would have been consistent back then, I would have been in a different place now. But I digress. I did the college thing, I did the mom thing, I did the wife thing, and now I'm back. And now I feel this fire inside of me to help women to realize their true potential and realize what's inside of them. So this message, yeah, it's for you. Let's talk. Pull this baby out. You're gonna need it. First, I want to start by pointing you guys to Hebrews 11:8. Let's talk about Abraham real quick. It says, by faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went. And this is the KJV version. I'm going to put the easy to read version on the screen just so you guys can see another version and maybe understand it a little bit more. But I'm here to break it down for you. What was happening here is that God gave Abraham a word, not a map, not an itinerary, not a GPS, not a Pinterest mood board, not a vision board. And Abraham moved. He didn't ask his family for confirmation. If he was in this era, he wouldn't have been checking Instagram to see if somebody else was doing it first. He just moved. And that's the kind of faith that I want you to tap into right now. Because you're probably in a season where you're asking God for more clarity, but he already gave you a word. You're asking ChatGPT to give you more ideas, but you haven't even executed the first one. You're stuck in motion, not action. And there's a big difference. Motion looks like planning, and action is obedience. You're not confused. You're delaying. You're searching for the perfect steps, the perfect blueprint, and there's just none. There is no blueprint. The truth is, you're just scared. And listen, I say that with so much love because as a person who's been there, and I'm still there sometimes, like there are still certain things that kind of scare me, but you just have to step out in faith the same way that Abraham did. Abraham was a little bit scared. He didn't want to just like go, you know, he was wondering about his family. He was wondering about his nephew Lot, right? But he still obeyed God. Why? Because he knew that God's plan was better than his. And I know what it feels like to want everything to make sense before you make a move, but faith just doesn't work like that. And God is not going to give you the 5th step before you take the first. And I'm just going to clear something up for you real quick. People are going to look at you crazy. They are. Your mom's not going to get it. Your best friend's going to be like, you sure about that? And your cousins are going to clown you in the group chat, the one that you're not on. Even your husband might not be 100% on board with your idea. Guess what? They weren't in your Zoom meeting with God. They weren't bonding with you in the gym. So stop expecting people to validate something that they were never invited to. The word was for you. The assignment was for you. Now I want to point you guys to Genesis 6:22. Genesis is the first book of the Bible. Okay? We're going to learn the Bible here too. This is delusional but led. We are led by him. So yes, I will be pulling out my Bible. Believe what you believe. But if you're not with Jesus, you might be in the wrong place, honey. If you don't have one, get one. And if you don't know which one to get, I'll send you a link. Genesis 6:22 says, thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he. Clear enough? Let's unpack. God told Noah to build a boat in the middle of a drought. There was no evidence of rain. There was nobody else building anything. There was no timeline. There was no context. God was just like, build a boat. It's gonna rain. And you think you're crazy for starting a YouTube channel? It's 2025. You think you're crazy for posting your face? It's 2025. You think you're crazy for starting a digital product or an online business? Girl, it's 2025. We're in the digital era. Come on. Get with the program. Plus, that's light work compared to building a literal ark and putting 2 animals of every kind into the ark. Like, can you imagine finding 2 ants and making sure they were on the boat the whole time so that the ants could survive? I do question sometimes why certain type of insects were allowed in that boat, but God knows what he does. Anyways, what Abraham did, what Noah did, that's what real faith looks like. Obedience won't always make sense. Most of the time it doesn't make sense, but it is what will produce fruit. So yes, you're gonna look delusional, but the Lulu is the Salulu. That's how moves are made. That's how purpose is walked out. And if you want the domino effect, the first one has to fall. And the first one always falls awkwardly. It might be uncertain and it might be embarrassing, but it's kind of like the initiation phase of getting everything that you've ever wished for and dreamed for is the wobbly faith that we kind of walk on. So don't let the fear of wanting too much kind of make you settle for not enough. You've been saying you're waiting on God, but the truth is he's been waiting on you. What you're really waiting for is comfort. You want it to feel safe. You want it to be peaceful. You want it to feel perfectly timed. Have you ever said that? I'm waiting for the right time, or it needs to be perfect, or I need to have every piece of equipment. I need to have this camera. I need to have this lighting. I need to have this microphone. I'm currently recording on my iPhone. I have a DJI. I have a Sony camera, and I'm recording on the front camera of my iPhone, bestie. Obedience rarely comes with peace, safe, comfort, perfection. Most of the time, fear feels like nausea. Fear, like second guessing yourself when you're literally doing the thing. And it never comes with like this amazing peace ever. It comes with sweat, like blood, sweat, and tears. But guess what? You do it anyway. Let's jump to Hebrews again. And this time we're going to read 11:1. And Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So like I said, you're not always going to feel it. You're not always going to get outside confirmation, and it's most likely not going to make sense. Because faith means you trust God no matter what, no matter the circumstance, no matter what things look like. Sometimes you have to have the biggest faith when everything is crumbling down, when you're at your lowest point, when you feel like you've hit rock bottom. So even when it feels awkward, especially when no one claps for you, and you have to keep the faith up when it's silent after you obey. And if you're still saying, I'm gonna pray about it for the same thing that you constantly pray about, that's not faith, that's not waiting on God, you're just hesitating. You don't need more time. You just need to trust God and move. So I wanna talk to you about why you're scared. Why you keep saying you trust God, but your actions look the opposite. And I know you're gonna tell yourself, oh, it's imposter syndrome, but it's not. It's fear, it's disobedience, it's lack of faith. If you're not listening to God or obeying God, you're listening to Satan.
What?
Digest it real quick. Spit it out though. Obviously, you're not intentionally listening to Satan, but you're doing exactly what he wants you to do. Second guessing yourself, doubting God's promise, not living up to your true potential. You're shrinking yourself, and you're not walking in the authority that God already gave you. You're praying to God to bless your vision, to bless your brand, to bless your business, but you're not even using the voice that he gave you to its fullest potential. You haven't posted that video that you said you were going to post. You said you wanted to be a UGC creator 10 months ago, but you haven't sent one pitch. You won't record yourself and say what God told you to say. Real quick, let's go to James 1:22. James 1:22 says, but be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Clock that. Clock it right now. Clock yourself. That means stop spiritualizing procrastination. Stop hiding behind strategy and planning and waiting for the right time. If you really believe in your vision, it wouldn't just stay on your vision board. It wouldn't just stay on your list of ideas. And the longer you're hesitating, the longer you're training yourself to stop hearing God's voice when he speaks to you. The reason I use the word is because I really believe that God has a purpose for each and every one of us. God is a creator, and he created us to be creatives. Creativity is our number one character trait. I mean, he told Adam to name every single animal and plant in Eden. So Adam was a creator in his own right. And I really want you to break those generational chains that bound you, that bound your family, that bind you right now, that might bind your future children and your future generations if you don't break them right now. Because I need you to understand this isn't just about you. This is about your legacy. This is spiritual. This is about you being the first woman to walk down this path. You're the first woman that has walked in God's favor. And you're probably one of the first people in your entire bloodline to watch a video like this, trying to be better. You're trying to grow. You're trying to move different. You're trying to align with your purpose. And straight up, it's gonna feel heavy most of the time, especially when you're trying to break habits that you've had for years. I mean, think about how old you are. If you're 30 years old, think about breaking 30 years of bad habits. Think about how long you've been doing the same things with the same fears, starting and stopping, doubting yourself, thinking about judgment, thinking about other people's opinions. It's gonna take a little bit to, break that, but I know that with God, you can. Of course, it feels hard and it feels heavy, but that's just more confirmation that you're called to do this. It means that you're disrupting the cycle. God gave you grace for this, but grace has a window. And if you keep planning, waiting, if you keep scrolling, or you keep getting ready, eventually you might miss the season that God had for your obedience. And you don't have to flip in your Bible, but I do want to read Proverbs 6:11 to you. And it says, "So shall thy poverty come as one that traveleth, and thy want as an armed man." Now the KJV version is a little funky, but basically in a nutshell, it's what happens when you let laziness and fear rob you of what God had planned for you. And it just delays your provision. And sometimes we actually miss something that God wanted for us. And maybe it was only available for a certain season and we completely miss it. Not that there's no more promises for us or gifts or blessings, but a certain blessing we probably missed because of disobedience, because of fear, because of laziness. I want you guys to learn this new word, spiritual apathy. Spiritual apathy is just letting procrastination and laziness and overthinking kill your purpose. And it's one of the biggest warnings actually in Revelation. And maybe I'll do a separate video about that. But yeah, you have two choices. You can be remembered as the person who went for it or the person who missed it, missed the window, missed their opportunity, the person who always tried something new but never pulled through. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather look delulu as heck to the world but hear my Father say, "Thank you for doing what I told you to do." Now, if your chest is burning right now and you feel something like at the pit of your stomach, that's not motivation, it's not inspiration, it's conviction. You're convicted. You already know what God wants you to do. This is your confirmation, so go do it. Post the video, start the pitch, turn on your mic, do the thing, say the thing. Be the woman that God called you to be, even if your voice shakes. And listen, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you for watching. This is my day one. I'm building my YouTube from scratch, showing up as I am, as your new online mom bestie that loves Jesus. And I pray that this inspired you to do the same for you. I'm so excited to be back on YouTube. I'm so excited for this series. And actually, video 2 is already filmed, so don't sleep on me. If this spoke to you, please drop a comment. Let me know what part stood out to you most. My socials are going to be linked in the description, but I'll also leave them up here. So please follow me, especially if you're just viewing me for the first time. I really want to make some new friends. I really want to build this community. And if you want to support me today, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss my next video. Thank you again. Stay blessed and stay tuned for the next one. Release your inhibition.